welcome. I'm Jennifer from the Somerset County Family Community Health Science Department, and I'm happy to be with you today making a family favorite of mine, chicken provencal soup. I came across this recipe a couple years ago. It's from Rachel Ray, and I love the word soup because it means a little bit of a heartier soup, but not so thick as a stew. So it's just a fun term, and I'm going to show you how to make this. Hopefully we'll have time to do the whole thing. I've already prepped some of the veggies so that we can cook it all at once. I have sauteing in my pan 2 carrots that I've just kind of sliced like that. So they are sauteing in a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. So I wanted to give them a head start. I have 2 garlic cloves. Good morning. And I'm just going to mince them right in with the carrots. And just let them have a nice stir. This is loaded with vegetables. So one vegetable we're going to add is the zucchini, which I already washed. And I'm just going to dice it into chunks, kind of halfway and then halfway again. So like in quarters. And again, what I love about soup recipes is that you can change them with whatever vegetables you have on hand. If you didn't have a zucchini, you know, it's nice to include everything, but if you don't have a particular ingredient, it's okay to leave it out or change it. So it's just 1 medium zucchini added in with the carrots and garlic. And I have 1 medium onion and 1 red pepper that I've also diced. I'm just going to give it another little squirt of olive oil here. Okay. Just want all the veggies to be coated. Okay, now we're going to season the vegetables with a little bit of salt and pepper. Okay, and now we're going to add herb de Provence. Now, it's just easier to use 1 teaspoon of spices that you have. So I've used 1 teaspoon of rosemary, 1 teaspoon of thyme, and 1 teaspoon of dried sage. I already mixed it in here. I'm just going to sprinkle that on the vegetables. Oh, it smells so good. I wish you could smell the aroma of the rosemary and the thyme. So my veggies are coated, and we're going to let them just kind of cook together. The other veggie, oops, look what I forgot. I got so carried away adding them in, I didn't have my other half of zucchini. Let me chop that up real quick. Okay, so this is so colorful, right? I always talk, when I talk about nutrition with the kids, I always talk about eating a rainbow, and just look, just take a look at that rainbow. Oh, you got all those colors, and it smells delicious. So 1 more vegetable that we're going to add are red potatoes. So this is about 1 pound. It's just 3 nice sized potatoes that I'm going to slice into wedges. I'm leaving the skin on, and just thin wedges like that. So again, you know, if you don't have red potatoes on hand, you could use regular russet potatoes, little other fancy potatoes. You could use sweet potatoes, but we're just pretty much following the recipe. And you want to cut them real thin. See, nice and thin. And you could even, because that's kind of thick, you can even cut them. I'm going to slice them like that. Because you want, when you're slicing your vegetables, you want to make sure they're as uniform as can be. This one was small, so I'm going to leave that one, and I cut the larger one. So I'm just going to go ahead and thinly slice the rest of my potatoes. Now this is the perfect day for a nice warm soup, or stoop as we're calling it. I know here in New Jersey, I'm in central Jersey, it's a rainy, snowy mix right now. So we're going to save this for dinner tonight. Where are you all watching from if you're watching live? Donna, Joyce, Elbin, let us know where you're checking in from. I know we have followers that are from across the state and even out of the state, which is so great to see. Okay, so I'm gonna add our potatoes. And the different sizes is also nice. So we have color, we have texture, we have different sizes in our soup. Okay, we're just gonna let those potatoes cook. Okay, we're gonna add 1 cup of white wine. And I just leave a bottle in the fridge for when I'm cooking different recipes. So I kind of always have that on hand. And this is going to reduce down. All right, we're gonna let that reduce. And we're going to add 1 can of diced tomatoes. So like when I said this was packed with veggies, it really is. We're going to use the tomatoes and the juice. If you're worried about sodium, you can look for canned tomatoes that are reduced sodium. Okay, gonna add that. And then our chicken stock. Again, you can use whatever you grab. Chicken, I have chicken broth here. I'm going to use 1 box, which is 1 quart, and a little extra. So I always find, I don't know if you find it, I always find when you're cooking with soup, I always add extra broth because there never tends to be enough. So we have 1 box and then an extra cup that we'll add. I'm going to turn up the heat, and then we're going to let this come to a boil. Where's my cup? Okay, so all that goodness, if you're just joining in, that is, I just added our chicken broth, 1 can of diced tomatoes, and a whole bunch of vegetables. We have red potatoes that were thinly sliced, 2 carrots, a zucchini, and an onion and red pepper. So again, oh, this is so good. So we're gonna cover this and let this come to a boil. So now for the chicken, I've got about 1 pound of chicken tenders. Again, you could use whatever you have on hand, chicken breast, thighs, whatever. So I've already diced up into bite-sized pieces the chicken. So we're gonna set that aside. When the soup boils, then we'll add the chicken and have it cook through. Probably it'll take about 8 to 10 minutes. So while we are kind of waiting for that, I'm gonna bring you over here and show you something else we're going to add. This is kind of a bonus. When you look, and I will share the recipe in the comments, it's a link to a Rachel Ray's recipe. They add some nice garnish, and she has an olive tapenade that you can add on top of the soup when it's in your bowl ready to be eaten. Now you can find that in like a specialty food store or the special aisle in a jar. But we're gonna experiment today, and that's what I love about cooking, and I love trying new recipes, is experimenting. So we're gonna make a homemade olive tapenata, which I thought would be great because aside from topping it on the soup, just to give it that pop of flavor, you can use it as a dip. We have Super Bowl coming up, so if you're looking for some healthier dip ideas and things to pick on, this would be great with some whole grain crackers or your vegetables as the dip. So some of the ingredients that we have here, like I said, we're gonna experiment a little. You can use all types of olives. I just bought a jar of the Kalamata olives. You could use a mix of different kinds of olives. I have capers, which will give it that little salty bite, garlic, lemon, and anchovy paste. I've actually never cooked with real anchovies, but there's a lot of recipes out there that it gives it a lot of flavor. And using the paste, you can make this last in your pantry a while. So let's check our broth. Okay, it's still not up to to a boil, so we'll go ahead and start the olives. So I've already drained out the liquid and have about 1 cup. So in the food processor goes about 1 cup of my Kalamata olives. And I already rinsed. You want to rinse and drain out your capers because they are very salty. So if I rinse these out, this is about 2 tablespoons. It was actually what was left in my jar from a chicken piccata. And let's do 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. I would use a fresh garlic clove, but I don't have any left. I'm using a lot of garlic in my recipes lately. And lemon juice. And this is my favorite kitchen gadget. I know we've talked about kitchen gadgets before, but I just love the zester. And if any recipe that I'm making, baking, cooking, calls for orange or lemon or lime juice, I always add the zest, because that is just packed with flavor. Just brightens whatever you're making right up. So we have the zest and the lemon juice. Oh, that's nice. No seeds. Oh, using lemon is just so fresh. Okay. All right, and I'm going to grab wash my hands here. And we're going to do 1 teaspoon of the anchovy paste. Okay. Let me grab my olive oil. Okay, so we have all the ingredients in the food processor. We're going to give it a quick blend. And I'm going to then just drizzle a little bit of olive oil. Well, you can't see this. Let me move you over. So I'm just drizzling on the top a little olive oil. Okay, less is always more. We can always add more if we need. Okay. Just scrape the sides. Let me get a spoon. Give it a little taste. See the texture, the color? It really smells good if you love the smell of olives. It needs a little bit more olive oil. Excuse me. Okay, and I have fresh parsley because we're going to garnish our soup with fresh parsley. So I'm just going to pull a whole bunch and we're going to add that in there too. That is good. That's going to be such a great drizzle on top of the soup. So if you want to see what the texture looks like, it's just the pureed olives with the lemon juice. And you have the really great flavor from the garlic, a little bit of the anchovy and the capers. All right, so let's come back over here and let's check our broth. All right, it's looking good. Starting to boil. We have a lot of people watching live. This is great. Let us know where you're watching from. I think because it's such a cold, snowy day, right? We want a good new soup to try. So we're going to add the chicken. If you're just joining us, that's 1 pound of diced chicken tenders, but you can use any kind of chicken. And this is going to cook for about 10 minutes until it is all cooked through the chicken and the potatoes. So you can just check that as needed. And that is our chicken provincial soup. So I am very excited to have that tonight for dinner. I'm definitely going to top it with our olive tapenade. And if you store it in an airtight container, it'll be good for a couple of days. You can cut up some raw vegetables and use that. You could use that as a sandwich. You can use this as a sandwich spread. So there's so many options. I love the versatilities. So try out. If you don't have all the ingredients, you might not have capers. Maybe you want to try a teaspoon of Dijon mustard in there. So experiment. Come back and let us know how you tried the soup, if you tried the olive tapenade on it. It's not mandatory, but it's just, you know, fun with flavor, fun in the kitchen. So thanks for watching. See you next week.